Hey everyone, it's Tuesday morning, January 27th, and welcome back to Capital Markets Quickie. I'm your host, Endrit Sella, here to break down yesterday's market action in just 2 minutes. Quick note before we dive in, today's episode is brought to you by AMF Capital Asset Management Frankfurt. Learn more about our funds and strategies at amf-capital.de. Alright, let's get started. So yesterday, U.S. stocks pushed higher as investors went into this huge week with a mix of optimism and caution. The Dow Jones Industrial Average climbed about 0.6%, the Standard & Poor's 500 added around 0.5%, and the Nasdaq Composite gained roughly 0.4%. Now this came after a couple of tough weeks, so markets were clearly trying to stabilize a bit. At the same time, gold was once again in the spotlight. Prices had already crossed $5,000 per ounce over the weekend, and yesterday they kept moving higher. A weaker dollar and rising political uncertainty helped fuel that rally as investors looked for safe places to park their money. Speaking of politics, Wall Street was also watching developments in Washington. After a deadly protest incident and growing tensions around immigration policy, investors started worrying that political fallout could complicate efforts to avoid a federal shutdown. That uncertainty added to the demand for so-called haven assets like gold. Now looking ahead, this week is packed with major earnings reports. Today, Microsoft, Meta, and Tesla are scheduled to report their quarterly numbers. Then tomorrow, Apple will follow with its update. A big focus will be on artificial intelligence spending. Last week, Intel's cautious outlook raised some doubts about how fast this whole AI build-out can really move, so investors will be listening closely for guidance from big tech. And according to experts, this could set the tone for the entire tech sector. At the same time, the Federal Reserve is wrapping up its 2-day meeting today. Markets widely expect interest rates to stay where they are, but the real question is how long the Fed will wait before cutting again. There's also growing political pressure on the central bank. President Trump has hinted that he could announce his preferred successor to Chair Jerome Powell as early as this week, and that's adding another layer of uncertainty for investors. So overall, yesterday was about cautious optimism. Stocks moved higher, gold stayed strong, and everyone is now waiting for earnings and the Fed to tell us what comes next. Alright, that wraps up today's Capital Markets Quickie. Join me again tomorrow morning for more market updates. See you then.